Hello, and thank you for joining us for the TAA webinar, How to Use Any Textbook as the Foundation for an Online Course, presented by Pat McKeek. Pat is currently teaching 4 online bootcamp courses with over 1,100 students registered in one or more of the bootcamps. He earned his BA in Mathematics from Cal State Northridge and his MS in Mathematics from Brigham Young University. He has written over 25 textbooks in mathematics. 10 years ago, he started his own publishing company, XYZ Textbooks, with the goal of lowering the cost of mathematics textbooks for community college students. Hello, Pat. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kim. Welcome, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here and to do this webinar with you. I'd like to start by saying one of the best things I ever did in my career in publishing was to join TAA. I joined the very first time it was offered and went to the very first conference they had, and it's just been a great resource for me ever since. I found the attorney that I've used for the last 30 years there, and it's just a great group of people and a great way to be connected with each other. So let's see, you can see there on the front screen more Zoom presentations at my website, mckeag.com, and you can also email me anytime at pat@mathtd.com. So this is probably the biggest change I've ever seen in higher education the whole time that I've been involved in it. And I know the future is very uncertain. There's a lot of things to worry about. But what I've been trying to do is to think about my colleagues that many of them are teaching online for the first time and trying to do things to support them. So when I change my perspective to what can we all do together to get better at teaching online courses, then all the worry stops and I've really got something to do. So this presentation is about how to take your textbook or any textbook really and create an online course out of it. So let me go to the next slide. And let's see. So part 1, the foundation course, and I'm going to show you that foundation course. Part 2 is putting yourself into it. And part 3 is letting people know about it. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Foundation course should be enough for someone teaching online for the first time to get started. Since we were all sent home in the pandemic, I had started doing Zoom meetings right away to other instructors. And so far, we've done over 40 Zoom meetings and had over 800 people participate. And the one thing I found is that many people have a lot of trouble teaching online. They've never done it before. You get classroom instructors that are home for the first time and they've got to take their class and turn it into an online class. So what I've been trying to do is to make that easier for them. So that's what the foundation course is all about. I'm going to take you to one of those foundation courses now. So I'm going to stop this presentation and go to this. So you should see a Canvas course, and it's intermediate algebra. And chapter 1 says real numbers and algebraic expressions. And then section 1.1, the real numbers. So the foundation of this course is the textbook. So I'm going to click on that link. And you will see that the textbook comes up right inside Canvas. And they can scroll through the textbook. So this would make it easier for somebody teaching online for the first time if every section of the book they were using was right in their learning management system. Okay, I'm going to go to modules here for a second. That's the foundation. This order of things in the course came from a request from one of the schools using one of our books. So the first thing they wanted was a mini lecture. So I'm going to click on that. So it's a little mini lecture just to get students started in that section. Write 5 eighths as a fraction with denominator. So we have a lot of videos that we use in our online courses. So I just put this mini lecture for that section in there. I'll click next. And that takes us back to the textbook. So you can see a student using this course. They see the mini lecture. They go to the textbook. The next one, here's all the videos for that section of the book. And in the publishing company that I own, we're very video intensive. So every example in every book is worked on video. So I link to that set of videos for this section. So a student can say, oh, let's see, write 3/4 with the denominator of 20. I'm not sure what to do. They can click on Gordon.
Okay, here we are going to change the denominator to 20.
And he'll come up and work the problem. They can click on Ariel.
Here we have the fraction 3/4.
He'll work it. Aaron will work it. Gordon will work it again in Spanish.
Y vamos a cambiar el denominador.
So that's an ancillary that we have for the textbooks that we publish. And so you want to think in terms of your textbook and the ancillaries that come with it. A lot of them will be things that you've created, some that the publisher has created, and think about how can I get that into an online course to make it easier for somebody teaching out of the book to use that ancillary. So in our case, this is one of the ancillaries, the videos. Let me go to next. And this is a little PDF of what we call our matched problem worksheets. So every problem in this worksheet is similar to the example in the book with the same number. So I put this in because a lot of instructors, even though they're teaching online, want something written, somewhere for students to do written work that they can grade when the students send them a PDF of their work. So that's why that's in here. Okay, so let's go back now. I've got to move my little control panel around. Back to modules. So an instructor that's teaching out of this book, when I create this course in this learning management system, which happens to be Canvas, it'll be very consistent. A mini lecture, the textbook, the set of videos, then the worksheet. And as you scroll down, you'll see section 1.2, they see the same thing. Now the instructor can go in here and put their own page in and say, okay, look at the textbook, and the textbook's already there, and work problems 1 through 10 in problem set 1.2. They can fill in around what they have here, but this is the foundation course for them. Let me go to 1.3, mini lecture, same thing, right? Little mini lecture comes up.
What we want to do in this section is look at arithmetic.
Okay. Go to the next thing. They're going to see section 1.3 of the textbook. Right? Next, for students, all the videos. So if they get stuck on an example, here's the videos for them to watch. They can click on Julieta. She'll look at Spanish.
En este ejemplo, vamos a hacer la suma.
Okay, and then next, matched problem worksheet. So that's the foundation course. And what's in this course is really, the main thing is the textbook. So everybody that's going to teach online that uses a textbook somewhere is going to want to have access to that textbook in their online course. So why not set it up for them ahead of time? Now, I'm using the Canvas Free for Teachers site, but it has the same export features and that all of Canvas does. So when I want to send this course to somebody, I just go into settings, say export course. It gives me that little export file, and I send that file to the person that wants to use the course. They bring it in, and all the information that you've just seen shows up in their course. So that's the foundation course, and the idea is to help instructors that are teaching online for the first time or who've been teaching online for a long time and help them not have to create the whole course themselves. Okay, so that's the foundation course. Let me go back to my presentation for a second. Okay, part 2, we want to give instructors the option of bringing in additional resources to the course. These are the extra things that you do in your classroom. So you should think in terms of like what you do in your classroom. Do you give presentations at conferences that talk about teaching and how to use your books, those kind of things. So I'll show you a little bit of what I do at conferences. Okay, I try to bring in material outside of mathematics to make my course a little more interesting. So here's a slide on the oldest theorem in mathematics, Pythagorean theorem. I use a lot of postage stamps because they're very attractive, and also, we're trying to tell them that what they're doing in mathematics is important, and it goes without saying that if it shows up on a postage stamp, it must be. But I like this because I can talk about Pythagoras in music. Pythagoras is sometimes called the grandfather of musical science. The Pythagoreans were the first people to notice the relationship between notes on a musical scale and the reciprocals of whole numbers. Second slide, I bring in Shakespeare from The Merchant of Venice. He quotes Pythagoras here that the souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men. So this is the part of the Pythagoreans' religion that is that transmigration of the human soul. But this is for my English majors and literature majors, just so that they know that there's things in mathematics that connect with them outside of mathematics. So what do I do with an online course where I can't do this in person? I make a video of it. Okay, here's a little video on Pythagoras, the school at Athens, and music. So first of all, the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so I've done a lot of videos. That's my thing. You probably have other things that you do. But the idea is, how do you take what you do, the information you give people at conferences, what you do in your classroom, and turn it into something that can be used online? In my case, since I'm bringing in extra material into my live classroom, what I do for the online people is I make a video out of it. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this, and we'll go to a second course. So you should be seeing my dashboard for the free courses I'm teaching right now in Canvas Free for Teachers. So this is an Elementary Algebra Bootcamp course, and I'll show you, this is the foundation course that you just saw, plus the additional things that I do as an instructor for my peers when I go to conferences, sharing with them what I do in the classroom. So let's click on that. And I'll go to modules. And let's go down to the first section, lesson 1.1, positive and negative numbers. Okay. So when I'm teaching in class, I always welcome them to the class and tell them a little bit about what's going to happen. So every one of these online courses starts with a little welcome video. Hello, and welcome to Chapter 1. In Chapter 1, okay, just like you do in class. Then I put in success skills, study skills and success skills, especially in these boot camp classes, because students are going to have trouble with that. Reading videos in practice. Here now the link to the ebook is linked to an external tab where the book comes up in that tab. And now this version of the ebook, you'll see that the videos are right next to the examples. So they click on that little icon and the video screen. We want to start our work with negative. And again, they choose the person they want to see work the problem. Okay, we'll go back to that lesson. And here's Take 5 enrichment. These are the things that I present at conferences. This is the relationship between odd numbers and squares. And again, I made a video out of it. And then here's connecting with classmates and discussion group. Okay, so this is what I will give to instructors as an add-on to the course. They might not want to do these welcome videos. They might not like the study skills. They might not like the enrichment videos, but some people may like them, and so I want to make those available to people. So I can either create the course just like this and give it to them with all this information, or I can put them in a separate course and send them there to pick them up. Okay, so now let's go back to presentation. Okay, so that's the Bootcamp for Elementary Algebra. That's the enhanced course. That's for those of you that are doing extra things at conferences in your classroom. How do you get them into that online course? Now, the next thing is, how do you share this with your colleagues? How do we get these courses to people? Well, I use Zoom, social media, and anything you can find to let instructors know what you're doing. Sometimes it'll be your publisher. Your publisher may be open to you doing Zoom meetings for them, talking about the courses that you can put together. I know the sales reps for the publishers love it when the authors do Zoom meetings, and they can contact all of their contacts at the school and let them know what you're doing and give them a chance to register. So here's a little ad that I use on LinkedIn. I'll put an ad on LinkedIn. I'll put an ad on Facebook, anything like this, and then give them a chance to go in and register for that Zoom meeting. So this is a social media ad. Here's another one. Now this is about the resources and examples course. And so I'm going to take you to that course right now. So this is an online course in Canvas that I invite everybody that comes to one of my presentations to go to. And here's where I give them all the resources for the things that they've just seen in the Zoom meeting. So let me take you to the modules. Okay, instructor materials. Here's a links to all the PowerPoint presentations from the Zoom meetings. Let me go to the second one. Here's a link to all the recordings of the Zoom meetings that we've done, right? And then in some cases, we've done Zoom meetings and there's extra things that the people doing the Zoom meetings, Alan Tussey is one of the authors that we publish at XYZ Textbooks, so he had some additional things. We put links to that. So if an instructor comes to your Zoom meeting, likes what they see, then you need a place for them to go to pick up those things. So that's right on this course that I created for them. Okay, and then resources for your online class. Now here's a little bit of the promotional part of it. So I can take them to my YouTube channel. So if they click on that link, they're going to go to my YouTube channel. And let's see if this comes up.
Okay, here's a little introduction.
Now look at these playlists. This is building squares from odd numbers. So this is the little 5-minute videos that connect all these different things in my classes. And they're videos, they're on YouTube. So I let instructors go here and just download the embed code for this and put it right into their class. So if they see me doing this at a conference or in an online course, they've got somewhere to go to pick these up. Another one, patterns and connections in mathematics. This one, why do we call it algebra? Great little sequence of things where all the math books go through Baghdad, Iraq in the year 800. Is a good connection to the Islamic community living then, translating these books into Arabic, and shows a connection between what they're learning in any algebra class and what went on in Baghdad in the year 800. But I've already done this for them. So I'm giving them a way to make their class a little more interesting if they want to. A lot of people aren't comfortable talking about Islam, so they don't want to show these videos. They don't have to. And now the next thing, all those study skills that I have, they're right here. So sometimes I tell instructors, look, start slow. You want to do a video on study skills about making mistakes? Go ahead and put mine up first, then do your own video and replace mine with yours. So now let's go back. MathTV.com, that's one of our free websites where they can pick up those videos. Courses at MathTV, those are those free boot camp courses. My website, and so I give them a link to my website. And so when they go to my personal website, they can get a list of all the Zoom meetings, right? So this is the next one we have coming up. Plus here's the recordings of all the previous Zoom meetings and links to, among other things, the textbooks by our authors that we publish. So, but the other part of this is they can go to my blog. They can see the things that I'm blogging about, get to know me a little bit better, click the About button. We're very video intensive, so they can see that, how the videos fit together, all of those things. So you can do these online presentations, show people some neat things to do, but you need a place for them to go and pick them up. Okay, so let me go back to modules. I'm in the resources course. I'll go down here to Lesson 1, positive and negative numbers. Now that is the same lesson 1 that I just showed in the enhanced course. So let me go down to number 4. Now I'm giving them access to this. They can export this course and just pull in anything that they want. Here's the welcome video, study skills, making mistakes, link to the ebook, Take 5 enrichment, odd and squares, connecting with classmates. If they want to teach the class exactly the way I'm teaching it with all the extra material, I've put that into this resources and examples course. So that's just 1 chapter, but it gives them a start. Then down here, I have another chapter on roots and radicals. And then 3, I have a little bit of a chapter on trig functions. So I have a mailing list of 800 or so instructors that have been to one of the talks. As I update the resources site, I send them an email saying what's changed, what's extra there for them to pick up. So let's go back to my presentation. Okay. So here's a picture of me in 1974 when I started teaching at the community college. And the person in this picture has no idea that there's webinars to go to or conferences to go and speak at, anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out how to teach calculus and statistics and some of those harder courses. So it took me a long time to develop these extra things that I bring into class. And so my advice to everyone is to start slow and take your time if you haven't done this before, and just start, if you're just new at publishing and that, start thinking about the things that you do in class that make your class a good class for students to take, and start thinking about how to bring those into an online course. Okay, so more Zoom presentations, mccaig.com. You can email me at pat@tv.com. And so the idea here is this, to somehow find a way to take your textbook, create a course out of it where the textbook is the foundation. Look at the ancillaries that come with your textbook and see if there's any of those that would be useful to people teaching online that you can somehow get into that foundation course. Okay, once you've done that, now you need a way to get to instructors to tell them it's available. You could go to your publisher. You could start your own Zoom meetings, but you need that somehow, that mailing list. How do you get to people using your stuff? Maybe you go to the conferences that you were going to speak at that have been canceled and see if they want to email their attendees and see if they want to do a Zoom presentation. So most of my Zoom presentations are on educational ideas, not my textbooks or that. How to make an online class a good class. Sure, I bring in the textbooks and I think that's okay, but they're really not commercial presentations. They're more about how to be better at teaching online. So that's the first thing, to think about how you can do that. Make it easy on the people using your book, teaching online for the first time. Then number 2, what are those extra things that you do in the classroom that make your class a good class? Things that aren't necessarily associated with your textbook. How can you get those into the online class, and how can you get the people using your book to be able to bring those into their online class? And then third, it's just about how do we contact people? How do we get a hold of them? So that's it for the presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Or Kim, I've never done a webinar thing, so I'm not sure. Usually I see people.
It's no problem, Pat. People are putting their questions into the question box on their control panel. So we have a couple of questions, but before I start with them, if you do have a question, you can enter it into the questions box on your control panel, and then I will read it to Pat. So the first question is, wouldn't putting pages of a college textbook online be a copyright violation if the teacher is not the book author?
Good question. Kim, can I stop sharing my screen so they can see me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, there I am. Is that right? Do they see me?
Yes, they do.
Okay, great. Okay, let's see. Copyright violation. I haven't thought about that. I own the publishing company, so I'm just giving people permission to use the PDF or whatever it is for their class. I assume that students are going to pay for the ebook, right? We make all of our books at XYZ Textbooks. Chapter 1 is free. Chapter 1 and all the videos that go with it. So when I put my ebook into a course, students can register for the course, start the course right away in Chapter 1. Everything's free. When they get to Chapter 2, if they click on the book or they click on a video, a little screen pops up to tell them to log in. If they don't have an account, they'll have to create one at that point, and at that point, they'll have to pay for access to that ebook.
Well, I would think that if it's your book, you would still probably have to talk to your publisher about doing this. But communicate with them, and then I guess if you're using a different textbook and you wanted to do this, then you would also have to contact the publisher and get permission to be able to utilize it that way.
Right, and you're probably going to work with your publisher on this. I mean, yeah, look, my first book came out in the early 80s, so I've been in publishing a long time. I've seen it go in higher ed from 0 to 60 and then back down. So I've had a great time in publishing. Currently, with my regular publisher, Cengage, I don't have a lot of contact with them, and the other authors I talk to don't either. So it's not the way it used to be with the publishers, but I certainly would start there and kind of tell them what you'd like to do. You'd like to create a course for people that would make teaching online for the first time easy for them, and you'd like to do a Zoom meeting to show them what you've done. Then they, of course, have the big mailing list and everything, and they can get a hold of people. So,
okay. So the next question is, with problems and elsewhere, can text input and answers be added right on screen by the student?
The answer to that is no on the things that I just showed you. We also have an online homework system where students enter their answer and it's graded. So if you're in the mathematics community, ours is XYZ homework, and it's very similar to MyMathLab, to WebAssign, MyOpenMath, all those online homework systems. That's where people go to actually enter answers and get them graded. But in the recent seminars I've been in, there's a lot of people that were classroom teachers, right, in mathematics especially. They're used to looking at students' work because they want to show them kind of where they're off in formatting and things like that. So there's some really neat tools now where you give them like that match problem worksheet. The student works out everything by hand. They scan it on their phone, right? All the pages that they did, it happens as one PDF file. It uploads to Canvas, and then the teacher with a tablet could go in and mark right on that PDF. So it's getting easier and easier for instructors to grade written work. But as far as inputting answers and getting solutions, all the learning management systems like Canvas have their own quizzing system, which you can use. Unfortunately, in Canvas, the quizzing system doesn't work well for mathematics. So it's very hard to write the questions the way you want to write them and then get students to answer. But Canvas and Blackboard and all of them have their own quizzing system built into it. So you could try that.
All right. So the next question is, are all the invoices, billing, credit card system on your webpage for adopters and students?
Yes. So we have a paywall. I started this company 10 years ago. I started it because, like I said, I had a great time in publishing. Just the best experience for somebody like me was just wonderful. But then as time went by, my popular books, for instance, I have a very popular trigonometry book. My publisher raised the price of that book to $320. It started at like $25. So Now, students taking a little 3-unit trigonometry class would have to pay $320 for the print book. And I want them to have the print book. I think they'll do better if they have the print book than the ebook. But this was even before ebooks. I begged them to lower the price. They wouldn't do it. So I got enough content back from them that I could start my own publishing company, which I did, and published basically the same books that I had with my main publisher, Cengage, where the Cengage book would be $300. We published the print version for $58. So I didn't know anything about starting a publishing company when I did this. So yes, you have to have a way for people to pay for it. I had to find a way to get a paywall in there. And there's all kinds of things to it about you don't want to keep people's credit card numbers and stuff. So we use systems like PayPal. PayPal is a nice setup that you can set up on your website, and students will come there. It will, when they go to pay for something, it will route them to PayPal. They'll pay, and then you never see their credit card or anything like that. And then PayPal will let you know now they're a paid up member, and PayPal will put the money in your account minus whatever their fees are.
All right. Well, yeah, okay, one more question. Is it pretty straightforward to set up a small TV studio in your home for taping segments?
Yes, and we're gonna be doing a Zoom meeting on that coming up. So I've learned a tremendous amount in the 3 months that we've been doing these Zoom meetings. But one of the things I learned is that I bought a document camera, because that's a good way to hold office hours in mathematics and show people how to work problems. You just have the document camera on the piece of paper and they're seeing what you're writing. So that worked out really well. It turns out this video you're seeing right now is on my document camera. I just put the camera up and put it towards me, and it's better than any camera I've ever bought. So this is a $100 document camera. You need about 6 feet of wall space and you're set to go. So yes, it's getting easier and easier to make videos.
All right, that's great. Another question popped up while you were answering this question. Who are your customers? The students who are enrolled in an academic course?
Our customers are higher ed instructors. We do just like all the publishers do. We contact them. We do webinars for them, Zoom meetings for them, send them review copies of the books. We try to get them to adopt the books for their courses. And so that's business as usual. We also sell to a few homeschoolers and people like that, but that's not a very productive way to do things. Homeschoolers generally want things for free, and they have a lot of questions. They take up a lot of your phone time and stuff. So the most efficient thing is to get an adoption of the book at a school for a specific course. Then the bookstore orders the books, we ship them out from the warehouse, and students come and buy the book. So then we get paid from the bookstore.
All right, someone's asking, what document camera are you using?
It's the IPEVO, whatever it is. It's on Amazon. They sold out for a while. I would show it to you, but I can't change to my eyesight camera and do it. But email me and I'll send you a link to it.
Okay. We can also post it with the recording.
Right.
More information about the document camera if any of the rest of you are interested in that also.
Yep.
So it looks like that is all of the questions that we have today. So thank you, Pat, for sharing your expertise with us. And thank you all for participating in today's presentation.
And thank you, Kim. Thanks for hosting this. And I would say to anybody, especially anybody just getting started in publishing, join TAA. It's just a great organization. Go to the conference. And then as far as this information in this presentation, really what we're trying to do is be of service to our colleagues. We're trying to find a way to get them, those people that want to use our materials, get them to be able to shift to it online very easily. So I'm looking at it more not in terms of sales necessarily, but in terms of service. It's service to our community. And it takes the worry out what's going to happen next. We've got something to do, make these courses as valuable as we can for our students, and share with our colleagues the things that we do in class that make our courses interesting, and do it in such a way that they can get it into their online course.
Well, thank you very much, Pat, and we really appreciate you sharing your insight and your experience with other TAA members. And hopefully they'll be able to replicate what you're doing and develop some materials for their own textbooks. So thank you again for all of you for joining us today, and thank you, Pat.